when last we met, I was a little sad, taken aback, annoyed, frustrated, all of the above, with some things that are going on in the greenhouse, as well as my yogurt. Yesterday I did not film at all, but I was super busy running around errands, doing all that kind of stuff. And so while I was doing that, I was simultaneously thinking about ways that I could fix this. I don't know what actually happened to them. Obviously it was the soil. I know that Jess over at Roots and Refuge had an issue with grazon poisoning. I don't know if that's what I'm experiencing. There definitely has to be some type of an herbicide in that. And the way that she was able to kind of combat that was with mushrooms and fungus, I believe. And however, I was thinking about it through all of the research that I have done into fermentation. Fermentation, the bacteria, the things that are inside of a ferment can consume and break down many different types of herbicides. So we're gonna try something today out of the Korean Natural Farming Handbook. It's actually, I'm just gonna edit it because I want something that works today, not something that works in 2 weeks. So we're gonna do two different ones. We're gonna start the process of making lab, which is done with a rice water. But I personally think that using kefir whey will be just as effective, if not more effective. And I know that the principle behind lab and using the rice wash water is because it cultures the strongest bacterias in the area, because if they can survive in rice wash water, they can survive in anything, okay? I understand that principle. However, milk kefir is pretty dang powerful. There is like over 50 different bacterias in there, not all of which will survive with the purpose that we're using them. But I have been really wanting to make some homemade ranch with my kefir. In order to do that, I need to strain it to get a thicker consistency. And what happens when you strain the milk kefir? You get all of this lovely whey. So we're gonna start to strain our kefir so that I can make ranch, and we're gonna harvest the whey that comes out the bottom of it. Hubby needs lunch today, and I've decided that he's going to have curry and rice because I wanna make rice wash water. All you really need is a big old pot, a bowl to go inside of it, a muslin cloth, and some milk kefir. But I intentionally let this over ferment, hoping that it would get lots of whey to it. Doesn't look like that happened. So I'll just pour the kefir in there. A big long silicone spoon I found for this method to work the best. You just gotta get it high enough off the bowl that it can drain out. That should do. And then while that is draining, we're gonna make our rice wash water. If it's in the middle of the summer or right in the height of like fly and fruit fly season, cover this up with a cloth to make sure nothing can get in there and jeopardize your whey, which I am going to do. All right, so most days I would say I might miss a day every once in a while if I have an event or something going on, but generally speaking, I make my husband his lunch for him to take to work. I do that because I love to do it. He does not ask me to do it nor expect me to, but I just enjoy it. So today we're gonna use some of the canned curry that I made a while back and some rice. He usually likes about a half cup of dry rice. So I'm gonna turn that into, I'm gonna double that so he has something to eat tomorrow, because I want a little more rice wash water. Because here's the thing, when I went to Costco, well, when I was running my errands yesterday, I ended up going to Costco and I bought 1.5 gallons of organic pasteurized milk. The reason that I bought that is because I don't want any of the cultures that are naturally in the raw milk to interrupt the fermentation process. So I figure if I'm starting from a fresh, clean slate, then I feel like that would be better. And I bought organic because that's just what I do. You can use whatever kind of milk you want, to my understanding. I believe this is basmati rice. I have no idea if the type of rice matters, but this does make a very cloudy wash water, so we're gonna use it. So 1 cup of rice. I'm gonna inoculate 1.5 gallons. I'm gonna need 1/10 of that, so 128, 188. So we need 18 ounces of rice wash water. I think my math is right. I guess we're gonna do a little extra. We're gonna make him 2 cups. So he'll have enough for his days off. This is way more than what I need. But anyways, you just kind of like swish it around Basically, you're just trying to, I think what you're trying to do is to get the excess starch off the rice and get it into the water. You can see how kind of how cloudy it is. That's what we want. I probably used too much water. Whatever. I'll still ferment it all. And this stuff is gonna ferment for like 5 days, so it's not gonna be in this vlog, but I will of course bring you along for the rest of for the finishing of it. And then once it ferments for about 5 days, then you, and it depends on temperature, it depends on the area, you have to kind of gauge it for yourself. That should be enough. And you take that rice wash water, put it in a container, and then we're gonna cover it with a coffee filter and a canning ring. You can use a rubber band or a towel or whatever you wish. But this is going to ferment at room temperature for about 5 days. We don't want, like I've got my kefir that ferments over there, and I've got in my pantry over there, I've got a bunch of kombucha going. So we want to put this in an area that is going to be away from other ferments, particularly very strong ferments. So if the bacteria from the kefir wafts over here, that can kind of take over, and you're not gonna, I mean, it won't be dangerous, it won't be bad by any means, but we're not gonna do exactly what we're trying to do. So this will make its return in about 5 days. This whey, which is basically the same thing we just did with that, we're trying to make whey with the rice wash water. We're just trying to make a very specific strain of, not specific strain, but a specific type of whey. There are many different types of whey. So it is straining, not as quick as I had hoped. So I had a rather tragic accident with my Jun. I had 16 gallons going, and I went and checked on it, and every last one of them molded. Looking into it, there's 2 options. Both could be true at the same time. The first one is that I was fermenting it at too low of a temperature. I mean, it's just basic room temperature. It has to, I've never temped in there, but it's about, you know, we usually keep the house at about 68, but the thermostat is out here, so it's hard to kind of tell if that's what it was. All of the, like kombucha, Jun, all those things, they do enjoy a warmer room temperature, probably like 75 to 80, but I had never had an issue with it until this last time. And the only thing that changed was the green tea that I used. So either the green tea had mold spores in it and it spread. It could not have been the honey, because I brewed each gallon individually, and I used several different sources of honey. So I don't believe it could have been that, because it also did not spread to anything else. It was specifically the Jun. And I have many different ferments going in there. Like I have 2 different strains of kombucha and I have Jun. So none of those had an issue with it. But my guess is that the Jun culture is simply weaker than the kombucha. It can't withstand the colder temperatures as well. But that is also going to be an issue at the kitchen. I have to go to the kitchen today because I need to get that room a little bit warmer. The new Jun cultures are supposed to be in the mail. It's not all the ones that I need, but I got them from 2 different sellers because I want to kind of see how they operate. So I got some from 2 different ones. And once that comes in the mail, we're going to go to the kitchen, see if we can't help to increase the temperature there. So I'll see you in a bit when we're ready to harvest the whey. Okay, bye. Okay, I promise we're about to go outside and get away from the awfulness of the dishwasher. But before we go outside, this stuff needs to be mixed 50-50 by weight with brown sugar. I have no scale, nor do I have brown sugar. I looked, but I do have organic cane sugar, so it's gonna be less processed, so hopefully it'll work just fine. And originally I was just gonna spread it out as is, but then I realized the bacteria need a source of sugar. So I'm gonna go ahead, mix it with that, and that way it has something to feed on beyond just what might be in the soil. That's my theory. I think this is a 1/4 cup, and we need to kind of mix it. It should become almost paste-like, like a very thin paste. I am making such a mess down here. So I guess we're just gonna fill up the jar, huh? And then the book says to mix this at a ratio of a 3% ratio. So that's like maybe 5 tablespoons per gallon. Is that right? 128, so it'd be 1.53. So like 4.5 ounces per gallon. All right, we're getting there. It's not dissolving at all. Once you mix it with the sugar, according to the book, you can keep this at room temperature. This is probably not enough sugar, but maybe it is. When I was at Costco yesterday, I meant to grab a bag of brown sugar but unfortunately I walked right by it. Let me just clean this mess up and we're gonna go outside and do some spearminting. Make sure to mark what it is. Did you know that you can use permanent markers on mason jars and they'll wash off? You might have to scrub slightly, but you usually don't. All right, let's boogie. So for this experiment, I'm not gonna jeopardize everything. Not that I feel like I'm jeopardizing, but I am gonna do a select number of my trays and I'm gonna mark them. I'm gonna do a 1%, 2%, and 3% ratio. So we got our new tags. I decided to go with the colorful ones this time. Can't tell if that noise is coming from there. Oh, screw it. I'm just gonna do it to all of them in varying ratios. Can't tell what that buzzing is. It's making me nervous. Now, to mix up our ratios, I just brought out my water pitcher so that I can more accurately measure. All right. Our hose is now operational. Get it all mixed in. For science, we'll be accurate. 1 tablespoon and about a 1/4 tablespoon. Put the lid back on as to not attract bugs. Make some weird iced tea. Down all the 1%ers. About a 1/2 gallon. It kind of fills it up. We got them all watered in. I think I'm gonna go ahead and mix up like a 2% ratio just so that I can put it in my sprayer and then I can foliar spray and just make sure that the tops are nice and soaked in, just to make sure that any kind of wicking issue won't be a problem. Brand new sprayer, so we can have a real trial run here. Okay, it's a 1 gallon sprayer, so we'll put in the appropriate amount. And whatever I have left over, I'm just gonna feed to the garden, the beds. That didn't go like intended. I'll just do it with this side and wait till tomorrow, just to make sure. I don't know why I'm nervous about this, I shouldn't be. I'm gonna get you a close-up so we can see where we are right now. You can see just about all of them look completely dead. A couple over here look like they might make it. So now, I think we got a couple hours left that we need to kill before the mail gets here. So, while we got the hose and it's turned on, let's go see about something. Watering one of the beds. Watering in one of the beds so that we can hopefully be able to weed it easier. Okay, so we have very clay heavy soil. And when it gets really dry, it's very difficult to work with. I did this one the other day. It took me about an hour with the stirrup hoe, which is kind of my new obsession. Got lots of mullein going. It's almost a mullein fence. All right, so watering it in should help make that easier. There we go. And watered in really, really good. I'm literally watering weeds right now. It is technically easier when you water the soil. I want to make sure I'm mentioning that. However, it does make harvesting the weeds a little bit more difficult because everything looks like kind of wet and just funky. But I decided about a quarter of the way through, I'm gonna make me some swamp juice. So I'm just harvesting all of the weeds, the dirt. I mean, I'm shaking off the dirt, but whatever dirt is on there, I'm not gonna be concerned with it. And we're gonna let this thing ferment. The swamp juice is from David the Good, and basically you just fill it up with whatever you have access to. You can use animal products, you can use their bedding, you can use weeds, you can use whatever you wanna use that is like a natural kind of organic product. And not organic in the sense of the, you know, the chemical sprays, but just something that can break down in the composting process. You just fill this thing up with water and let it ferment in there for like 2 weeks, all the way up to, I mean, almost indefinitely. According to him, it kind of just gets better with time. So I'm gonna go ahead and top this off to the weed level right now, because I don't want these weeds to lose their life force. I don't know, it's a bad word to use, but you get the point. And then I'm just gonna finish weeding however much it takes to fill this guy up. And then hopefully by then the mail will have come and we can go to the kitchen. That's literally the only reason I'm home right now, is because I'm waiting for the mail. That's a workout and a half, I will tell you what. Oh my gosh. So, I finished one bed. Am I out of water? I'm out of water. I gotta turn off for a few minutes. So I finished that one bed that I was working on. It is, I'm telling you what, a sucker's a workout when you got clay soil. I'm gonna be so sore tomorrow. See, obviously, I don't work out a whole lot. So when I do something that's like a really heavy workout, I don't even notice it for like 2 days. And then, holy schmoly, it hits me. So I have a feeling the day after tomorrow, I'm gonna be pretty sore. It was a lot of work. I finished the bed. There's still a little bit of room left in there. So I went around and gathered a bunch of lamb's ear, some plantain, a few other things that are known to have extra minerals in them, just so that it will seed it inside of this thing, because the minerals will stay behind in the water, at least according to David the Good. So I need to turn off the water for a few minutes, and I didn't really have the energy to get started on that at all. Like I was definitely feeling very lagged behind compared to what I did last time. So lighting in here is terrible, and there's nothing I can do about that. But this is kind of where I'm storing the kombucha. And see, I got impatient and I didn't wait for the John. I got to where I thought the mail might have come, and then I left because it's a very long trek to my mailbox. So I figured if it's there, great. If it's not, oh well, I'll just get it when I get home. So, and of course, right when I get here, I get a notification that it was delivered. That's fine, because the main reason that I was here is that I need to get this room warmer. It was like 56 degrees in here, which is far too cold for kombucha. And I put this heater in here and some plastic sheeting just to kind of help hold the temperature in here. And it's risen, I'd say probably at least 5 degrees in like 20 minutes. So I think this is gonna do what I need it to do. I do need to do a little bit more like buttoning it up and kind of patching in, because the stuff wasn't long enough to completely go to the ground. But I do have extra that I can work with. So I can come back here with some packing tape tomorrow, but that's gonna be in the next video. So for now, we're gonna go home and we're gonna check on those starts that we got in the greenhouse. Make sure they're not all dead. Okay, so we're home and we got our kombucha. Oh, that's how you open it. It's actually John. I don't know why I said kombucha. How do you open it? Oh, so you just tear into it. There's no delicate way of opening this. That did nothing. That is sticky. It's sticky. So we got our John. 15% off my next order. We got our scobies. It said that it came with instructions. Store at room temperature until ready to brew. These things, we're gonna store room temperature until tomorrow. But this is basically what it looks like, you know, when you order from, this is pretty typical packaging when you order from Etsy. The scobies are unfortunately rather small, but depending on the pH of this, that will determine, like in the next video, we'll be doing this together. The pH of this is gonna determine if this is gonna make a half gallon or a whole gallon. And I'm thinking it might be a half gallon based on the size of the SCOBY. It is very thin. That thing is like not even an 1/8 of an inch. I'd say it's close to a 1/16 of an inch. It's very thin. So, at any rate, I'm just gonna package this back up. I'm not gonna share the name of the shop just because if it doesn't do well, I don't want to like disparage a shop, but if it does well, and these cultures take off very well, I'll share the name of the shop with you guys. Because the thing with Etsy, when you share stuff online, there's a limited amount of stuff, especially with cultures and things like that, where it's, you know, they have limited stock on hand, limited things that they're able to send out. And so if you like overwhelm somebody's shop with like a bunch of people, is it really helping them? Not that like I would get like a tremendous number of people, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know what I'm saying. Let's go check on the greenhouse, shall we? So the reason that I like to brew Jun is that a lot of people like to have the alternative of having a drink that's made with raw honey and green tea instead of sugar. It's a little bit less caffeine, and there's carbs, but there's no sugar in it. And just some people prefer honey over sugar. But another reason is the market that I'm doing all of this to get into, they already have a kombucha vendor, and so I'm limited on the kombucha. You know, it's not a complete no competition, but it's a limited competition. You know what I'm saying? I can sell like a couple of flavors a week, but it's not gonna be my main jam. But Jun is a completely different culture, so I can sell plenty of that. No surprise here, there are no miracles that have happened. But it definitely doesn't look any worse. But yeah, so. We'll see how it goes as the weeks progress, and I'll be sharing with you the other ferments that I'm making as well for the garden. So in that barrel over there is the swamp juice. Literally all you do is you fill up whatever container that you have. I don't think you want to pack it down or anything. I didn't pack it down. I just filled it up and then covered it completely with water. Airtight. It is an anaerobic ferment. According to the swamp juice, it's an anaerobic ferment, so it's going to smell kind of funky. Takes about, let it ferment, I'm leaving it in the sun. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but I'm gonna leave it in the sun. This one here is actually fermented chicken poop. It's well overdue. I will have to put together the video to go with that here very soon. I need to get the appropriate things that I need in order to properly expunge the liquid from there, and I don't have it, and I keep forgetting every time I go to the store. Did we make I think we made 3 different ferments for the garden today. We're gonna keep them coming because there is a lot of different options and a lot of different ways that various different types of ferments can help you to benefit your garden. So I will see you guys on the flip side. Peace out, sauerkraut.